callers and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Ask the Experts show with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Enjoy being educated in such topics as personal injury law, community association law, family law, bankruptcy law, along with health show topics like pain management, men's health, and dental implants. Now, sit back and enjoy today's Ask the Experts with host Steve-O.
Good afternoon. This is the Ask the Experts show. We're on every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. drive time. Today is October the 1st. God, this year is going by fast. Well, that means it's the first Thursday of the month, and that means it's time for our Community Association show, which gets, more calls than any show that I've ever done. And we happen to be so lucky to have the top community association law firm in the state of Florida. I used to say South Florida, but in the state of Florida, Kaye, Rembaum. And of the three partners, I'm lucky enough to have the best, the senior partner, Robert Kaye. How's that?
Oh, Steve, that's very kind.
You know, some people you just love doing a show with. This is one of them. But hey, listen, get your calls ready. The phone number here is 888-565-1470. If you have a question for Robert about your HOA or condo association, this is the best show to do it on. 888-565-1470. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing well, keeping healthy and busy.
Isn't this nice that we don't have to fight traffic at 6 o'clock at night?
The traffic has been the one bright light in all of this.
Yeah, no kidding. But you're open for business.
We are, yes, and the phones are ringing all the time. People always having issues that they need addressed in their association. So certainly we're very busy. We've been there the whole time.
Well, you know what I've noticed, one thing is that every month we get more and more new listeners. Word gets out about your show. And so tell everybody about your law firm.
Okay, Rembaum is a full-service law firm, but we primarily concentrate in the field of community association law, as you stated, condominiums, homeowner associations, cooperatives, all aspects of the operation of a community association, be it interpreting the documents, providing legal opinions as to the rights and obligations of the board, the individual unit owners, enforcing the documents with covenant violation actions or collection of unpaid assessments, assisting with negotiations of contracts for repairs, all aspects of outside vendors, dealing with governmental agencies on behalf of associations, pretty much soup to nuts, everything an association deals with on a day-to-day basis. That's what we do. We have offices in Pompano Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, and Tampa. And we represent probably over 1,200 communities at this point.
Well, it's amazing because you've been with us for about 3 years, and 3 years ago we used to say 900, and I thought that was a lot. Now you're at 1,200, and you have a new office.
It could be more.
Yeah,
I haven't really checked the count lately, but
and you have your new offices in Tampa.
Yes, Tampa is a growing place as well. There's plenty of communities there, and Tampa's covering across I-4 into Orlando and north of that. So there's a lot of assistance that we're here to provide.
Well, one of the great things about this show is we allow you not only to call in at 888-565-1470 with your questions, but we also have you can also email your questions to us. A lot of people put their questions on our Facebook, and we actually read them over the air. And boy, did we have a lot of questions this time. I mean, it
People
is,
shouldn't be shy. Call us up.
yeah. I mean, we're listen. This is the best time to do it because the lines do get crazy. So give us a call, 888-565-1470. If you've got a question about your association, HOA, condo association. I guess we're just going to get right to your questions. I hope we have it set up right because we're doing this like we've never done it before. I wait for Freddie to tell me what lines we have people on. I hope that's what they're doing back at the mothership at the radio station in Boca. So I'll wait for them to tell me what lines we have callers on, and we're going to start. Okay. Now I got it. I'm sorry. We do have a caller. Okay. Rick.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Rick.
How are you? Congratulations on your growth there with all your expansion, different locations in Florida. That's great.
Thank you.
My question has to do with the difference between a restriction for renting within a year. You can't have a lease, let's say, where I just bought a place for my son. So the son is living there and says you can't rent it for a year, but it's my son. He can be there. That's pretty clear. Now, my son has two roommates. So he has the roommates living there, but it's not a rental agreement. It's a roommate. So is there a differentiation legally or not between renting and having a roommate? Or leasing?
Well, a lot's going to depend on the documents themselves, whether there are specifics enough in the documents to identify the relationships, what's allowed as far as guest occupancy, whether there's exceptions for immediate family members, whether that extends beyond the immediate family members to other individuals who may be sharing space with a family member. So it is a possibility that the other individuals may push that over the prohibition side, but it's also possible that it doesn't, depending on the documents and whatever rules the board may have adopted appropriately relative to that point.
Understood. Thanks. Yeah, it's silent as to roommates, so that's why I was asking.
Well, it isn't so much the issue of roommates as it is the relationship to the owner when it comes to the occupancy during that moratorium time period, and whether or not it's going to be deemed to be a tenant situation regardless of whether or not rent is paid after a set number of days, because some documents will provide for that. And it really all depends on how proactive the community was. If it's silent across the board, then that creates a little bit more of a problem for the association to claim that it's anything other than just some guess of a legal occupant.
Got it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rick.
All right. Thanks for listening.
My pleasure.
Let's go to our next caller, Arnold. Hi, Arnold.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Arnold.
Yes, sir. First, I want to compliment. I'm Albert Arnold, Dania Beach. I want to compliment Mr. Kaye. When you call his organization, you get a warm, fuzzy feeling that they want to help you and know what they're doing, and they have excellent webinars. I used to go to those up there, and I miss the cookies. My question is, I recently attended the Condominium Association Board Member Certification on September 3rd. Somehow I lost the link to the handouts. My question is, should I email or call someone, and who should that be? I'll take the answer off the phone because I have the radio on, or if I'll leave the phone on if I may.
You could just send an email to info@kbrlegal.com and just basically state what you just stated, and the right person will get back to you.
I think he hung up.
Okay, well, thanks
Arnold,
for listening.
Thank you, Arnold. That was a nice call. Hey, we have a line open now at 888-565-1470.
Well,
We're going to
speaking
go to our
of
first
webinars,
break. Someone
I
there?
was going to tell you about webinars that are upcoming if we have time for that, or you want to do that after the break.
Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll do that.
Okay.
Give everybody the phone number at the office, Robert.
You can reach us at 800-974-0680.
Okay, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we have more with Kaye Bender Rembaum, and we've got callers, and we're going to talk about webinars. Got a full day today. We'll be right back.
Kaye Bender Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm devoted to the representation of more than 1,200 community associations throughout Florida under the direction of attorneys Robert L. Kaye, Esquire, Michael S. Bender, Esquire, and Jeffrey A. Rembaum, Esquire. Kaye Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. Kaye Bender Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Kaye Bender Rembaum also keeps clients up to date on new developments in the condo and HOA law and how they are personally affected by them. Kaye Bender Rembaum provides prompt, effective, high-quality, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services to a diverse client base. Call Kaye Bender Rembaum today at 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680.
And we are back. This is the Ask the Experts show. We're on every Monday and Thursday night from 6 to 7 with South Florida's greatest experts. This is the first Thursday of the month, so that means this is Kaye Bender Rembaum, one of the most popular, it is our most popular show. They've been with us for a long time, and I know Robert loves answering your questions. Our phone number here is 888-565-1470. We're going to get into your classes. Let's just go to Barry, since he's been waiting for so long. Barry, are you still there?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Kaye,
Sure.
we have 2 vacancies on our board that occurred in between elections. Our bylaws say that there's a choice that you may have an election to fill the 2 vacancies, or the board may appoint individuals to fill the vacancies. It specifically does not say shall, it says may, and it parallels the statute by saying may and may. Do you think we're required to fill those 2 slots?
You would only be required to fill the slots if failing to do so means there isn't a quorum of the board available to conduct business.
There would be a quorum. There's 7 board members and 2 vacancies.
So your quorum to do business remains 5, even though there's only 7 active seats, just so you know. It's based on the total number of seats.
Wouldn't the quorum be 4, not 5?
No, it's based on the total number of seats, not the total number of actual seated directors. There's 9. You said there were 7 seated and 2 vacancies. 7 total?
Yes.
So then you have 5 current directors and 2 vacant seats.
Yes.
All right, in that instance, 4 is your quorum number. That is correct.
Okay,
So
no
the law does not.
It's all optional.
Right. The law does not obligate you to do so based on what you've described. The law doesn't require it. The bylaws don't require it. It's an option for the board to either fill or wait till the election.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks,
Sure.
Jerry. We have a
Bye.
line open at 888-565-1470. So you've got some webinars coming up.
We do. We have actually one tomorrow.
Oh,
A Q&A on the Palm Beach County recent action on rescinding all the restrictions, which is being hosted by Campbell Property Management, featuring Jeff Rembaum. If you go to kbrlegal.com under the resources tab, you'll be able to log into that particular event tomorrow. On October the 6th at 1 o'clock p.m. Oh, tomorrow, by the way, is at noon. October the 6th at 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. we have a homeowner association board member certification. Andrew Black will be doing the instructing on that. That's a webinar from 1 to 3. We actually have some physical situations coming up this month, which is unusual. In Bradenton, the area condo and HOA expo at the Bradenton Area Convention Center on October the 15th from 2:30 to 4:30 is the 2020 legal update. October 20th at the Palm Beach County Convention Center, the Palm Beach Condominium and Homeowner Expo at 12:15 p.m. There's a class on navigating the Federal Fair Housing Act, assistance animal or pet at 12:15, and then at 2:30 p.m. there's a 2020 legal update. That's at the Palm Beach County Convention Center, October the 20th. October 22nd at Tampa Bay Convention Center will be the Tampa Bay Condominium and HOA Expo. And at 2:30, we'll be doing the 2020 legal update up there. And then October 22nd, there will be a course which we haven't identified yet. So check the website. There will be an offering of a course on October the 22nd. I just don't have the name of it as of yet, but check the website, kbrlegal.com, and it'll be on the calendar. On October 27th in Broward County Condo and HOA Expo at the Signature Grand in Davie, 12:15, navigating the Federal Fair Housing Act, assistance animal or pet. And at 2:30 will be a 2020 legal update. All items are found with registration links and instructions on the website at kbrlegal.com/event-calendar. kbrlegal.com/event-calendar. So that's what's upcoming in October.
if you miss those, we always do them in the second half of the show again. Got a busy month for October, huh?
Yeah, well, October's things starts to get heated up, generally speaking, but with the COVID situation, it's still leaning more towards webinars than having live in person, except for these expos.
Okay. If you have a question for Robert, if you're a board member or if you're a resident, you have a question, HOA or condo association, boy, this is the right time to do it. The phone number here is 888-565-1470. There is no such thing as a dumb question when it comes to this. So I want to go to, God, we got so many emails, Robert. There's something on here I have never heard us talk about, and it's, what is a master board?
A master board? Well,
Yes.
in some communities, you have multiple layers of associations. You'll have maybe some sub communities, and then a master that that oversees certain common areas to all of these. They're quite prevalent throughout the state. And typically, you're going to have representation on the master board from the communities that are members of it. Sometimes the sub-association is the member, sometimes all the owners are members. There's many, many examples of this throughout Florida. And one of the issues that has recently evolved in the court system with master associations is whether or not the principle of what being a condominium association or not, or subject to the condominium laws, depending on the constituency, meaning the people that are members being exclusively condominium, and that it's mandatory to be members of this master association. But the Third District Court of Appeals threw a monkey wrench into the old standard last year when it decided that any association that predated the change in the statute that didn't have certain magic words in its documents that incorporated changes in the laws was no longer subject to Condominium Act, which to some was a pleasant surprise. Others, it created more problems, but it's an area that can be very involved and interesting for sure.
Well, we have here's an email from Lorraine in Lantana. I didn't even know they had associations in Lantana. I'm kidding you. Of course they do.
For sure.
Yes. So she said, I was on the master board of our association and I had an illness and I had to step down from the master board. I'm now coming back. Do I need to get recertified?
Well, let's try and figure out the question now. Does she mean recertified by being certified as taking the course to be board certified to serve on the board, or certified to be back on the board? Because if she stepped down and now wants to get back on the board, it's not automatic. She have to comply with the documentary requirements, might have to be reappointed, reelected, depends on the situation there. If you are asking about the certification requirement of the statutes, since there was a break in service, then you'd have to get a certification once again, unless you took a course within the last 12 months. If you did it within the last 12 months, then you would have that certification intact.
Okay.
But it doesn't hurt to take the course anyway.
Yeah, it seems like there's always new things. We got a caller. I don't know if it's Cleve or Clive. Which one is it?
It's Clyde.
I'm going to guess Clyde.
Okay.
Thank you so much
Clive.
for taking my call.
Sure.
This is the first dumb question, but who is responsible for fixing the wiring behind the wall of a condominium unit?
That's also going to depend on your documents and which wall you're talking about. If it's in a perimeter wall, meaning a wall that surrounds the unit and separates the unit from outside or other units, the space in between those walls is common element, right, and the wiring within those would typically be the responsibility of the association. If the wiring's in an interior partition wall, like a wall that separates your rooms, the wall between your living room and bedroom, that's within the unit and could be the unit owner's responsibility. The other issue you have to check is what your declaration of condominium says relative to the specific maintenance obligations of the wiring between the association and the unit owners.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure thing. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
You know, it reminds me, we have a question that came in from a lady. Her drain was clogged up in her bathroom, and she said she shares a line with the next door neighbor, but they had to remove her I guess, vanity in order to get back, I guess, where the leak was. And she wants to know who's responsible for paying for that vanity. Is she
Well, that's
responsible or is the
also
association?
also an issue that is going to be in the documents. You have to look to whether or not the declaration of condominium contains a specific provision that refers to what they call incidental damage. Any damage that may occur to portions of the unit that are the unit owner's responsibility by the association when it's in the process of maintaining the common elements. If that provision is in your documents, the association could have responsibility to replace the vanity. Without that language, then it would default to being the unit owner's responsibility to replace it.
Okay. It's already time for our next break already. Uh, Give everybody your phone number, and also the most important thing is give them your website address because you've got so much valuable information on your website.
Well, the website is simply kbrlegal.com. And as you say, there's quite a bit of information. The resources tab is a very good one with articles of topical interest, be it through the legal morsels or the Rembaum Association Roundup. Our events calendar identifies all of the things we've got coming up. And there are links to important information as well. And the phone number is 800-974-0680.
Okay. We're going to go to break, and I have a cute little story that someone wrote about your show when we come back. We'll be right
Oh,
back
can't
with
wait.
Robert Kaye.
Kaye Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm devoted to the representation of more than 1,200 community associations throughout Florida under the direction of attorneys Robert L. Kaye, Esquire, Michael S. Bender, Esquire, and Jeffrey A. Rembaum, Esquire. Kaye Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. Kaye Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including, but not limited to, collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Kaye Rembaum also keeps clients up to date on new developments in the condo and HOA law and how they are personally affected by them. Kaye Rembaum provides prompt, effective, high-quality, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services to a diverse client base. Call Kaye Rembaum today at 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680.
You are listening to the Ask the Expert Show with host Steve-O. We will be right back with more experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Join us every Thursday from 6 p.m. Now, get ready for more Ask the Experts.
We are back here. We're with the senior partner at Kaye Rembaum, Robert Kaye, who is nice enough to come here for an hour once a month and answer your questions. I mean, I'm sure he could be sitting with his beautiful wife having dinner right now, but he'd rather spend once a month with us answering questions, and he's done it for the last 3 years. So it leads me to Martha wrote a letter. It wasn't very long at all, but it was amazing. She loves the show. And the first Thursday of the month, she'll listen to the show at night also. She'll repeat it because you've got it on your website. We have it on our Facebook. But she likes to re-listen to the show. And she's now trying to get the girls in the card room to play the shows back that you've done over the past. Isn't that something?
Oh, that's great.
You
Thank you,
made it to the
Martha.
card room,
Mhm.
and she's president of the board. So that's really
Oh,
good.
give us a call, Martha.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. No, people love the show, and they love the fact that they can call in or they can write in, and um, you know, what you do. There's a lot of people who aren't familiar with community association law, except for board members. And there's a lot of people out there. I wanted to ask you: are the elections always around the first of the year for new board members?
The election season tends to run, historically, it kind of was tied with the season when people would come from all over the country and the world to Florida for the quote unquote season. So usually starts in October, late October into November, tapers off a little around the holidays, and then January, February, March are busy election months, April, and then May, June, July slows down, but there's still many of the communities that will have them at any point during the year. With the COVID-19 situation this past year, many communities were putting off their annual meetings because they didn't want to get together in large groups, and they didn't have the ability or understanding to use a remote meeting format, which is authorized under the Not-for-Profit Corporation Act and would apply to all community associations to allow them to hold their meetings in a remote fashion as well. And condominium elections are a little easier because it's all a mail-in balloting anyway, so it doesn't necessarily involve as much in-person participation as a HOA type election would. So these are things that people are still working through.
Let's go to our next call. We have Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Can you hear me
Lynn,
okay?
Lynn, are you there?
we hear you fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hello,
You have
Lynn.
a question?
Okay. So I'm with Homeowners Association. And my question is, has there been changes to the laws so that we can restrict rental?
Well, what they're trying to change the law to prevent you from restricting rentals, but that hasn't happened yet. So if you have provisions in your declaration of covenants that allows you to restrict tenants or rentals, or you want to put that in, you can, until sometime when the legislature decides to be more like condominiums and limit your ability to do so to only those who vote in favor of it or who purchase property after the amendment has gone into effect. But right now, for you as an HOA, if your community wants to restrict renting, you'd have to amend your governing documents to provide for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
Lynn.
then.
We have line open at 888-565-1470. We love getting your calls. If you've got a call, a question about your association here, this is one that kind of a new question I haven't heard anybody ask. Eva from Pompano, that's where your office is. It seems
Yes.
every contractor have you sign an agreement that releases them from all liabilities. Are all companies and vendors like that?
Well, I think if you let them decide what the contract terms are going to provide without negotiation, you will find that many of them try to limit their liability as much as possible. But that's not something you're required to accept as the parties that are engaging with them or purchasing their services or whatever. And it's important to recognize these provisions in the contracts and to make sure that they're not as one-sided as they try to make them. We try to require contractors to be responsible for their own negligence. They shouldn't be looking to not be responsible for their own negligence when performing under the contract. Sometimes they try and make it only gross negligence, which is a very high standard and almost never occurs. So that, in essence, lets them off the hook. So it's important to be sure that when you're entering into contracts, and particularly anything over $2,500, which is when the construction lien laws kick in Florida, that you go over it with your association attorney and make sure that your rights are not being affected in a negative fashion in ways that we can make sure that you're protected.
Well, this is, we're roughly about a month away from the elections. And we had so many people to write in, Robert, about flags, and mostly about Trump flags. And there's a few Biden's in there. A lot of people wanted to know why the association wouldn't let them have these flags out. What is the reasoning behind it?
Well, both homeowner association and condo association statutes do contain provisions that limit entitlement to fly flags to only those that are the country, the state, certain branches of the military. And it does not include the political flags or other types of flags, universities, whatever people like to fly. So it's dependent on the governing documents, but the statutes don't create absolute rights here. And a lot of communities have prohibitions on signs, and they try to keep, political signs of all types from being displayed within the community. And sometimes they think it's just an eyesore and it's not conducive to the environment that they want to have without being political. It's just the look that they're trying to achieve for their community. And so again, it's dependent upon the governing documents, and that's the limitations.
I've had a gentleman call me several times. He always calls after the show. And his concern is, can his association make him take down these shutters, for hurricanes during the season? He said they're very hard to put up, and he would much prefer just to leave them up during the season. Can the
When you say the
association
season, you mean the
make
hurricane season
hurricane
or
season? Yes, hurricane season.
Well, we
And he
see in
wants,
many
and they do that.
communities, we see many communities have restrictions that allow people to put them up only when there's an imminent threat of a storm, and then there's a requirement that they be removed within so many days after the emergency conditions are no longer in effect. And so you got to check your governing documents and the association rules, because that falls under the architectural control entitlement that the association has over all of the properties within its purview. So yes, it is something the association does have the ability to require. And I know what a pain that can be, but when you board up your home for 5 months, that tends to not look good to the neighbors.
That's correct. I got you. Robert, give everybody your phone number.
800-974-0680, kbrlegal.com.
We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to go over your schedule for October. It's a busy one. In case anybody missed it, we're going to break, and we're here with senior partner Robert Kaye, Kaye Bender Rembaum. If you'd like to give him a call, our phone number here is 888-565-1470. We'll be right back.
Kaye Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm devoted to the representation of more than 1,200 community associations throughout Florida under the direction of attorneys Robert L. Kaye, Esquire, Michael S. Bender, Esquire, and Jeffrey A. Rembaum, Esquire. Kaye Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. Kaye Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including, but not limited to, collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Kaye Rembaum also keeps clients up to date on new developments in the condo and HOA law and how they are personally affected by them. Kaye Rembaum provides prompt, effective, high-quality, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services to a diverse client base. Call Kaye Rembaum today at 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680.
And we are back. This is the Ask the Expert show. We're on every Monday and Thursday, 6 to 7, drive time. This is the first Thursday of the month, and that means Kaye Rembaum. And I got to tell you something, Robert, because I know this is very important to your business. I had to come by and pick up a document at your office, and everybody is, you know, they've kind of streamlined their staff with COVID, but you had two people out there just like you always do, and customer service is very important to your firm.
Well, I will tell you that the offices have been closed to the public since the beginning of the pandemic situation in March. We have a drop box out front for people to leave payments. So while we're there and we're available for our clients and we are providing services, we don't have as much visitation as we normally would. And we're looking forward to the time when this is behind us and we can get back to a little closer to a normal situation.
But your clients have no problems getting hold of you, though.
No, we still have live bodies who are there answering the phones and available to handle all of your issues.
Okay, so let's go for people who missed it in the first half of the show. Let's go over your calendar for October.
Hi, it's starting off tomorrow. I already missed one today,
Yeah.
but tomorrow we have at 12 noon. It's most interest to our Palm Beach County people. It's a question and answer session on Palm Beach new Executive Order 28 and the impact on associations. It's hosted by Campbell Property Management. Jeff Rembaum will be featured. If you go to our website at kbrlegal.com under the resources tab, you'll find the sign up information to connect with Campbell Property Management and be able to participate. There's generally a couple hundred people that usually participate in these. So if this is of interest to you and it's an important change that recently occurred, you want to tune in tomorrow, 12 noon. October 6th at 1 o'clock, we have an HOA board member certification webinar. Andrew Black will be the instructor, goes from 1 to 3. On October the 15th, in the Bradenton area, the Condo and HOA Expo will have an actually on-site class happening at the Bradenton Area Convention Center at 2:30. The 2020 legal update. October the 20th, the Palm Beach Condominium and HOA Expo at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. We have two classes that day at 12:15, Navigating Federal Fair Housing Act, Assistance Animal or Pet. And at 2:30, there will be a 2020 legal update, which actually addresses all of the changes to the statute that occurred in 2019. On October the 22nd, the Tampa Bay Condominium and HOA Expo will be held at the Tampa Convention Center, and at 2:30 we'll be doing another 2020 legal update. We have another offering that's going to be available on October 22nd. We do not have a course identified specifically yet, but it will be available on the website calendar in the coming days. So do check at kbrlegal.com under the calendar to see what we have on October the 22nd. And then lastly, on October 27th in Broward County, the Condominium and HOA Expo will be at the Signature Grand in Davie. We have two courses, the 12:15, Navigating Federal Fair Housing Act again with the assistance animal or pet issue, and at 2:30, the 2020 legal update. So October's got a lot going on.
That's a busy month.
It is.
That's a
And
busy
in-person
month.
stuff.
So, you know what? This is another question. I was kind of surprised we actually got two emails on this. But one, I'm going to read the one who's the president of Small Condo Association. They had someone who tested positive for COVID. And she wanted to know, does she need to let everybody know this? Because she's got a duty to protect the residents there.
Of course. Well, you've got competing interests that the association has to keep in mind. One is the overall health, safety, welfare of the community, and also the privacy interests of the individual unit owner or resident who is contracted the virus. The first step that we recommend is ask the person who has reported the positive result if they object to the community being informed that it's them. We don't recommend naming somebody without their permission. If they do not want to give their permission, which for some reason a lot of people don't, maybe they think it's equivalent to leprosy sometimes, but if they want to remain anonymous, then the board could just send out a more generic notification that someone in the community has tested positive, and then indications of how to best protect themselves and maintain social distancing, masking, washing your hands, and being diligent for yourself. And then that's the extent of the notification that the board should be sending out.
So if the person doesn't want people to know, which you would think they would, you're not allowed
Well,
to.
it's more helpful when they're forthcoming because it helps you to let people know who might have come in contact with them, what they need to be doing. When it's anonymous, it becomes a little bit more difficult for the rest of the residents because they don't know if they need. So generally, everyone should get tested under those circumstances and possibly consider laying low or quarantine for a little while and see if any symptoms develop.
Jeff from Hollywood lives in a HOA, and they had these metal mailboxes like out in the street. I didn't think they even still did that anymore. Anyway, they decided to get rid of those. They scrapped them, and he actually, or not he, but the treasurer actually sold the metal for scrap and put the money in his pocket. Is he allowed to do that?
Well, I would say under most circumstances, the answer would be no. That could be theft, or it could be a misappropriation, or it could be the legal word of usurpation. But if the property was basically being abandoned by the association and he volunteered to take it off their hands and dispose of it, then conceivably there's nothing wrong with him then selling it for scrap. But if he could have done so on behalf of the association, assuming the association owned all of these mailboxes, he had a duty to do that and turn the funds over to the association. rather than keep it himself. Generally speaking, board members are not entitled to compensation for their services as board members unless the documents allow for that or the owners vote in favor of it. So that's an area that it sounds like there may be a problem.
Yeah, I would say so. Here's a question also we've never, I believe, had on the show about a line of credit for condo association. They want to know if an association can take out a line of credit, and if so, does the bank charge each individual homeowner or collect from each?
It's not unusual for associations to take loans for projects that they're doing or take a line of credit while they're doing construction or reconstruction or renovations. And then they typically will have a special assessment that will be used as proceeds to pay for that loan over a period of time, be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, however long they're able to negotiate. There isn't a charge to the individual units. Typically, the banks require the association to, in essence, give them first right to the association's assessment funds. We try and limit it to the special assessment funds, but the banks typically insist on all assessments. Generally, associations are good credit risk for lenders to provide loans to because they are very good at paying them back. They do have their assessment authority. So it's an assignment of the general assessment. There's no liens that go against the individual properties typically.
Robert, what's going on with this? Because we had several people ask about the state of emergency for Florida for condos, HOAs.
The last I heard, the state of emergency has not ended by the governor, although it's getting closer, I think, with the latest rollbacks to statewide phase 3 and allowing restaurants to open and trying to get things back to a more normal situation. But the official emergency order has not yet been lifted. So that's still in effect.
Okay. A lot of people definitely have asked about that. Are pools allowed to be open now?
Well, the interesting part about the Palm Beach County's recent action is they basically rescinded all restrictions. So in Palm Beach County, the pools no longer are restricted. Broward County, Miami-Dade are still restricted, but they're easing and they're in the process of creating new orders based upon the governor's most recent order from last Friday. But that hasn't been finalized as yet to my knowledge, but it's easing.
Well, I got to tell you, this has always been to me since day one the fastest hour in radio. It always goes by so fast. Let's give everybody the
Great
phone
stuff.
number again. This is the best, easiest interview I've ever done in my life. And we appreciate your calls. Thank you so much for your phone calls today and all the people who take the time out to send us mail. Give everybody the phone number.
Kaye Bender Rembaum is reached at 800-974-0680 or at website kbrlegal.com. You can write to us at info@kbrlegal.com and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
If you were going to law school, if you wanted to go into a community association, this would be the professor you'd want. Thank you so much, Robert. Always good.
All right, Steve. Have a great month. We'll
be back on Monday, 6 to 7. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye, Robert.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Call our office at 888-574-8255 888-691-6999 to become one of our experts on the show. And tune in again next week for more Ask the Experts with Steve-O. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily